Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle. If you're new here, I have been sharing a lot of my health journey, and it literally has been up and down, and mostly I would say downs and just like working through stuff. But if you haven't watched all my other videos, I was diagnosed with several different things, and I struggle mostly with gastritis and gastroparesis. I haven't officially been diagnosed though. However, I am on my way to have all those tests done. But I have been diagnosed with SIBO, H. pylori through functional medicine. I had a test done through Western medicine, and I feel like, of course, it came back negative. I even had a biopsy done once several years back, and that came back negative. And then recently it was the breath test that I did with my doctor. But I think like 2 years ago, maybe, I went through a functional medicine practitioner and I took a stool test and it came back positive, and we were never able to completely get it to go away. So there's that. And so I'm hoping that if I do get another biopsy done, I will hopefully test positive, and maybe we could try treating it that way. I don't know. We'll see. So recently I have been struggling with gastritis, and I've just not been able to completely make it go away, partially because I don't have the willpower right now to just buckle down and eat what I'm supposed to eat. And part of that is because I have a family who eats a lot of other foods that I normally can eat. I eat really healthy, really clean. And so I see those foods and I want those foods. And I really think, had my family eaten foods that were loaded with, you know, processed foods and preservatives and everything, I wouldn't even think about touching them, because these foods aren't. I want to eat them, and sometimes I do, and it just prolongs the healing. So I shared in my last video what happened this bout when I developed gastritis. And I've shared videos before too about soups and things that I've made to help it go away. And it always works if I stick to eating these certain foods. So I was going to take y'all along with me and share with y'all what I'm eating. And I know a lot of people complain about having issues with onions and garlic, and I don't have issues when they're cooked when I have gastritis. But if you know you do, even when they're cooked, I would stay away from those. I'm just sharing with y'all what's working for me. I was also diagnosed with SIBO, and it's the methane kind. And so my symptoms from that are chronic constipation, and I take magnesium citrate every day in order to not have any issues in that area. And I recently found one that I'm 100% sure that doesn't have corn, and it's through bulk supplements. And so I just started ordering theirs. I used to use the Now brand, but well, I reached out to them. Somebody mentioned that the coating on the outside from the magnesium citrate tablets has xylitol, and I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I do know even if it doesn't come from corn and it comes from birchwood, I throw up. And so I'm just trying to avoid anything processed. So these bulk supplements are just plain magnesium citrate and gelatin capsules. And normally I wouldn't want any animal products, but I'm not noticing that they're bothering me right now, so we'll see. Today I just wanted to share with y'all what I eat in a day and the things that I'm cooking in order to help myself heal.
This morning at about 10 o'clock, I started making the first meal that we're going to have, and it's going to be a carrot, green bean, shallot, and garlic soup with some herbs. And so I just chop up my carrots, my garlic, and then a shallot. You can interchange a shallot for an onion. I just had this on hand, so I decided to put it in the soup. And I add my green beans and some water, and then my seasoning. I added some salt, bay leaves, marjoram, some cilantro, celery seeds. The soup is really easy to put together, and that's one of the reasons I make it, because when I have gastritis, I tend to be discouraged and really don't want to do anything. So I just stir the soup, and then I pressure cook it for 5 minutes. And once those 5 minutes are up, I normally do the release on it, but I forgot, and I decided for a side of the soup, I'm going to have some pecans. I really love frozen pecans. I love that extra crunch that they have. And for my son, since he loses weight, I give him a lot more food than I eat. So he got a cup of pecans and a bowl of soup, and I'm going to get a bowl of soup and about a quarter cup of the pecans. And then we add a little bit of oil to the soup so we can add in a little bit more fat. I added in about a teaspoon, and for his I put in about 2 tablespoons. Now for my second meal, I'm going to be making some spaghetti squash hash browns, and I saw this recipe, so I decided to give it a try. And we cooked a whole spaghetti squash in the oven on 350 for 30 minutes, and then we took out the spaghetti squash and I added some salt, some garlic powder, and about 2 tablespoons of some avocado oil and mixed that up. And then I'm just going to put some spoonfuls onto my air fryer sheet, and then I'm going to flatten them out and make them even so that they cook evenly. And I was really nervous to make these because I was kind of weirded out, like, could these actually taste like potatoes? I really like potatoes, and well, it messes with your mind when you think you're going to have something that tastes like something else and then it doesn't, and then it's such a huge disappointment. But I don't think these were a disappointment at all. I'm glad I made them. I'm glad I tried them, and I probably will continue to eat them whenever I can find spaghetti squash. So I turned the air fryer on to 400 degrees and was letting it heat up while I put these together. And then I put them in there for 10 minutes on each side and then flipped them over. And as you can see, the edges are browning a lot faster than anything else. I kind of wonder if they would cook a little more evenly in an oven, but this is how they turned out, and I plated up myself 4 of them. And then I decided I wanted to have some tea with this, so I made me some peppermint tea with some probiotics, and it had a few other herbs in there. I think it had lemon balm and something else. So I only make about 1/4 cup of this cup of tea so that I can make a cold tea. And I add some salt and some stevia to mine. So you can see it has lemon balm, peppermint leaf, spearmint, and bacillus coaligan or something like that. Anyway, so I brew my tea for 5 minutes. I kind of want it a little bit strong because I'm going to dilute it quite a bit. And I put 2 pinches of salt and 3 scoops of stevia. I know it seems like a lot, but like I said, I'm going to add this to a larger cup, and it's going to be heavily diluted. And I just stir it up. And I have my cup here ready that I got for Mother's Day. Isn't it cute? And I just pour that in some cold water that's already in the cup, and then I top it off with some ice. And there you go. This is about 1 quart of liquid in here. And throughout the day, I'm drinking plenty of water, but I just decided I wanted to drink this. It is almost 4 o'clock, and I'm kind of getting hungry, so I decided to go ahead and start whipping up the spaghetti squash that me and my son wanted to eat for dinner. And I saw a recipe that talked about making them into hash browns, and for the whole thing, I only put a tablespoon of some avocado oil. But I do think I'm gonna have to add a little more because of the way they're coming out. They're just not as crispy and golden as the other ones, but we don't like to use a lot of oil just because it hurts our stomach if the food does seem fried, if that makes any sense. So like, we'll put potatoes in the air fryer and we won't put oil on them just because it affects our stomach. So we do a lot better if there's less oil when we cook food, or if we put the oil in after. I don't know why that is. It just seems to work for us, and we're just learning as we go along. I do a lot of research on gastritis and foods that they recommend, and it's not the same for everybody, but I'm noticing me and him have a lot in common, but we do have some differences in things we can tolerate, but that's just kind of where we're at right now. So this is going to be my dinner, and then I also have some peppermint tea with probiotics. I found this tea at my local grocery store, and so I decided to give it a try. I typically like peppermint tea, especially because of how hot it is outside. It's like 106 degrees right now. It's crazy. So this will be my dinner, and then I'm gonna have a side of some kind of nuts or seeds. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. They do look a little, I don't know, overcooked on the edges. We'll see. Surprisingly, these are really good. Like really good, and taste pretty close to hash browns. But
just so you know, I hate hash browns. And these are actually okay. I decided I'm gonna eat it with the cashew sauce. And this is just soaked cashews, water. I'll link a recipe down below and maybe share it in my next video when I make it again. But this is safe for me and my son to eat because it's basically cashews and a few seasonings. I should mention that I don't have any trouble keeping on weight. In fact, I gain weight during these times because my body just, I don't know, it holds on to everything, where my son loses weight, so I have to make sure I give him enough calories. So we put the oil in his food and a lot more than mine. He eats more pecans and he's able to also tolerate it in his stomach. I'm not. I have to eat less. And I think part of my reason is because I developed the gastroparesis after I ate something that I know my body doesn't do good with. And so we're just in different places right now. So let me taste it with the cashew sauce and let you know what I think. I'm always searching for recipes. So I think people who have gastritis or maybe gastroparesis are interested in stuff like this. I don't know. Made it even way better. Good. I would say too, this is also low carb. So if you do keto or just try to eat lower carb, this is a really good option instead of having the potatoes. I personally love potatoes, but I could see swapping out for this because I'm still overweight, surprisingly, even though I get issues. I'm not joking. I can throw up 4 or 5 times and still hold on to my weight. And I did lose 10 pounds though when my gastritis was flaring up and the gastroparesis, but that was because I was nauseous and had a headache and the food wasn't leaving my stomach at all. So that has been like one of the only times that I lost weight. I think if I'm not nauseous and I don't have a headache, I will eat. And I don't even eat the 1,200 calories. I eat probably 800, sometimes less, and I still don't lose weight, and I can actually gain weight.
After I ate my dinner, about an hour later, I was still pretty hungry, so I decided to grab a tablespoon of this cashew butter, and I also had a tablespoon of my raw almond butter, and I just wanted a difference in flavor.
So I know I said I was gonna eat something else with the spaghetti squash, but since I had the cashew sauce, I'm not gonna eat anything else other than that because cashews are like my nuts, so it's the extra calories that I need to keep me satiated and full. And I ate all 4 of those pieces of spaghetti squash, so it's about 1/3 of, I feel like the spaghetti squash we had was pretty big. I'm really excited. We grew it in the garden, and I feel like I need to grow a lot more now since I know I can tolerate this food. And spaghetti squash are expensive. For us to get one, I think it's like $6 in the grocery store, and it's not organic or anything. If you're new here, I love to eat clean. I love to eat organic food. I live on a homestead, and we raise our own animals for meat, and we have a garden, and sometimes it does good and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends because my health is up and down. A lot of times the garden gets overrun with weeds and stuff because I can't make it out there. And I'm also a homeschool mom, and I have 8 kids, 2 who are grown and are graduated from school, and so I'm homeschooling this next season, 4 kids. However, 2 of them, they're pretty much self-taught, and they only come to me if they need help, or if I go to them when I need to check up on them. And so the 2 younger ones, well, they're not the youngest, but the 2 younger after those 2, I will be actually intentionally schooling one of them, and the other one, she's special needs, so she will be doing some stuff on the computer on some apps that I found that I feel like would be really good for her. All right, guys, that's going to be the end of what I eat in a day. I don't eat much, and when I do eat, I'm full for a long time, and when I eat again, I'm okay. So I can eat 1 to 2 times a day, but basically I don't need a lot of food, and it's because my digestive system and also my body can hold on to the weight and the calories, and I can eat like this. So I definitely am not necessarily someone to emulate because I know a lot of people who tend to have gastritis lose weight. So if that's you, eat more often. I would recommend that it would be spread out and add more oil to your food if you do that than I did, and eat more nuts than I did, just increase the food a little bit. But yeah, and I also try not to eat close to bedtime. So it's 4 o'clock. That gives me plenty of time. Sometimes the last time I'll eat will be between 5 and 6, and I'll be fine. I just happen to be hungry at 4, so I'm eating now. And like I said, that's going to be it for today. So I will see y'all in my next video, and hopefully I will have some newer foods that are inspiring and encouraging. I know it's hard to cook when you have gastritis, which is why I really love the soups. So if that's you, I totally recommend that you would just buy things at the grocery store that are already chopped up. They sell chopped up carrots, they sell the green beans, they sell chopped up zucchini, depending on where you live. All right, I will see y'all in my next video. Y'all take care. Bye.